The turning point, global currency realignment, and the September 2025 breakthrough for years, speculation, waiting, and quiet preparation have swirled around the possibility of a global realignment of suppressed currencies. The community of Dinar, Dong, and ZIM holders has endured endless cycles of rumor, delay, and anticipation. September 2025, however, has changed the tone completely. The signals we are receiving now are not whispers or theories, they are direct confirmations. Screens are flashing, banks are mobilized, portals are opening, and the long-awaited green light is in effect. This is the moment when patience and preparation intersect with opportunity. To understand what is unfolding, let's take a careful look at each component: Iraq's historic shift, Vietnam's silent but decisive move, the activation of the redemption portal, and the release of global liquidity pools. Together, these developments form a picture that can only be described as a financial pivot point for both nations and individuals holding these currencies. Iraq steps onto the international stage for many. The heart of this story begins in Baghdad. Iraq has lived through decades of sanctions, political turmoil, and financial isolation. Its national currency, the Iraqi Dinar IQD, has been artificially constrained, circulating at levels far below its potential. While the nation holds some of the largest oil reserves in the world and remains a critical player in regional energy markets, its currency never reflected this underlying strength. Over the last several years, however, signs of reform have surfaced. Banking modernization. The Central Bank of Iraq has invested heavily in digitization, electronic payment systems, and compliance with international standards. Quiet rate adjustments. Inside Iraq, subtle shifts in local valuation hinted at a larger plan being developed in the background. Partnership agreements. Major contracts in oil and gas with international partners signaled that Iraq was positioning itself for re-entry onto the global financial stage. And now, September 2025 has delivered the final confirmation. The Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, has officially aligned its domestic rate with international trading platforms. This is no longer theoretical. Major foreign exchange hubs, from London to Dubai to New York, are showing live data reflecting a revalued dinar. For Iraq, this represents far more than a currency adjustment. It is an announcement of confidence, stability, and renewed sovereignty. After years of isolation, Iraq is rejoining the financial community as a credible participant. For currency holders, it marks the first tangible proof that the long-discussed revaluation has become reality. Vietnam's quiet but strategic adjustment. While Iraq often commands the spotlight in these discussions, Vietnam has been quietly preparing its own transformation. The Vietnamese Dong, VND, has historically been kept at low levels, a deliberate policy to support exports and competitiveness. Yet Vietnam's economic reality has shifted dramatically over the last 2 decades. Consider the facts. Vietnam has become a manufacturing powerhouse, attracting global giants in electronics, textiles, and consumer goods. The nation consistently posts a trade surplus, exporting far more than it imports. A rapidly expanding middle class has emerged, driving domestic demand and stability. Global institutions, including the International Monetary Fund, IMF, have repeatedly urged Vietnam to allow its currency to reflect this true economic strength. Now, without fanfare or headlines, the State Bank of Vietnam, SBV, has moved decisively. By adjusting the dong to parity levels aligned with IMF recommendations, Vietnam signals readiness to step fully into the global marketplace. This is not just a technical change. It's a declaration that Vietnam is no longer willing to suppress its economic reality. The implications are enormous. Investors now see Vietnam as a compliant, credible player on the world stage. For holders of the dong, this adjustment is the first sign that years of patience may finally translate into real financial transformation. The redemption portal goes live. Perhaps the most dramatic piece of news in September 2025 is the activation of the redemption portal. For months, speculation has swirled about when, how, and even whether the system would ever appear. Skeptics dismissed it as myth. But this week, confirmation has arrived. The portal is operational, secure, and moving forward. Here's what that means in practical terms. Tier 4B participants, the private exchange group often mentioned in Intel updates, began receiving notifications early this morning. These messages contain secure login links, appointment instructions, and confirmation codes. Tier 5, the general public, is expected to gain access shortly, within a matter of days, not months. The system is structured for efficiency, with appointments, verification, and processing designed to minimize delays and maximize throughput. This development changes everything. The process is no longer hypothetical. It is no longer a matter of if. It is unfolding in real time. For those holding currencies, it is a clear signal to prepare, organize, and be ready to act as soon as their turn arrives. Liquidity pools released. Banks are funded. A major concern, throughout the years of speculation, was whether there would be enough liquidity to process exchanges at the revalued rates. Could banks realistically fund the sudden influx of wealth for millions of currency holders? Would appointments collapse under the weight of demand? The latest confirmation resolves this uncertainty. Global liquidity pools have been authorized and released. Banks are no longer in a holding pattern, they are pre-funded and ready. That means, when individuals walk into redemption centers, funds will be available. High rates are backed by real allocated capital, not just promises. The infrastructure, staff, security, verification equipment, and wealth managers is already deployed at major institutions, including Wells Fargo, HSBC, and Chase. This release of liquidity marks the final preparatory step. Without it, even an activated portal would be little more than a symbolic gesture. With it, the redemption process can function smoothly, confidently, and credibly. Synchronization of events, why now? At first glance, these developments may seem unrelated: Iraq aligning its rate, Vietnam adjusting its currency, portals going live, liquidity being released. But when viewed together, they reveal a deliberate synchronization. Consider the timing. Iraq's alignment comes just as it signs new oil and gas contracts, signaling economic stability and international trust. Vietnam's move coincides with continued trade surpluses and global manufacturing dominance. The redemption portal activation aligns perfectly with the readiness of banks and the release of liquidity. Oversight by the IMF and the Bank for International Settlements, BIS ensures compliance and credibility. None of this is accidental. This is a coordinated global rollout designed to restore balance, reflect true economic power, and ensure a stable transition. The careful orchestration confirms what many have long believed. The revaluation and reset are not just local events, but parts of a broader international plan. The emotional shift, from waiting to action for years, the currency-holding community has lived in a cycle of anticipation. Rumors would rise, excitement would peak, and then delays would follow. Many grew skeptical, weary, or even disillusioned. September 2025 marks a profound emotional shift. The question is no longer if but how fast. The waiting is over, and the focus must now turn to execution. Holders are being asked to step into action, verifying their notes, preparing documents, and readying themselves for appointments. This transition is as much psychological as it is financial. Patience, perseverance, and faith have brought people to this threshold. Now, discipline, clarity, and professionalism will carry them through the process. The broader meaning, not just currency, it's important to recognize that what is unfolding is bigger than numbers on a bank screen. For Iraq, it represents national rebirth. For Vietnam, it is a declaration of strength and legitimacy. For the world, it signals a recalibration of economic fairness. For individuals, however, it represents freedom. Freedom from crushing debt. Freedom to buy homes, start businesses, or fund humanitarian efforts. Freedom to build generational wealth and provide security for families. This is not simply a financial adjustment. It is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for transformation, both personal and global. Has laid the foundation. We have explored the breakthrough developments: Iraq's international alignment, Vietnam's strategic adjustment, the activation of the redemption portal, and the release of liquidity. Together, they form the bedrock of the September 2025 shift, a shift that is not just financial but historical. From preparation to prosperity, your blueprint for navigating the redemption window. The historic realignments of September 2025 are no longer whispers in chat rooms or theories passed around in late-night conference calls. They are tangible, measurable, and happening in real time. With the Central Bank of Iraq aligning its rate, Vietnam positioning itself as a global powerhouse, liquidity officially unlocked, and the redemption portal activated, the stage is fully set. But now the spotlight moves from the governments, banks, and institutions to you, the individual currency holder. This section is not about speculation, it is about execution. What you do in the days and weeks ahead will determine not only how much wealth you secure, but also how effectively you can use it to change your life and the lives of others. We are entering a once-in-a-generation moment, and it requires preparation, precision, and professionalism. Step 1. Verifying and organizing your currency before setting foot in any redemption center. The first responsibility is to ensure your physical notes are authentic, organized, and ready for inspection. This cannot be overstated. Authenticity matters. Redemption centers will use advanced verification equipment, including UV scanners and specialized counting machines, to confirm that every note is genuine. That process begins with you. Hold notes up to the light. Look for embedded watermarks and the thin metallic security thread that runs vertically. Check color-shifting ink. On most IQD and VND notes, the denomination number changes color when tilted. Examine microprinting. Genuine notes include tiny print lines that counterfeiters rarely replicate accurately. Condition of notes: damaged or defaced notes may still be accepted, but they can delay the process. Tears, stains, or heavy wear increase the risk of rejection. If you have notes in poor condition, separate them so the verification team can process them more carefully. Organize by denomination. Bundle notes by type and denomination. For example, all 25,000 IQD notes stacked together, 500,000 VND notes grouped separately, ZIM or other currencies in their own bundles. Use rubber bands or envelopes to keep stacks neat. Walking in with loose or jumbled notes not only slows the process, but also presents you as unprepared. Redemption centers will respect professionalism, and you want to set the right tone from the moment you sit down. Step 2. Documentation. Your key to the door. Just as important as the currency itself are the documents you bring. Without proper identification, even the most pristine notes cannot be redeemed. The 3 essentials. 1. Government-issued photo ID, passport, or driver's license is best. Ensure it is valid. Expired IDs will not be accepted. If your ID is close to expiration, renew it immediately. 2. Proof of residence. A utility bill, bank statement, or lease with your full name and address must be recent, within the last 60 days. Digital versions are often acceptable, but bring paper copies if possible. 3. Appointment confirmation code. When you receive your secure notification, it will include a unique identifier. Print it, write it down, and save it digitally. Treat it as the key to your redemption. Optional but helpful documents. A secondary form of ID, such as a social security card. A small binder with your notes, receipts, if available, and organizational plan. A list of questions you want to ask the wealth manager. Walking in with everything neatly prepared signals to the bank that you are serious, organized, and professional. Step 3. Booking your appointment. Once the portal is live for you, time becomes critical. Call or log in immediately. Appointment slots are first come, first served. The earlier you schedule, the better your chances of securing optimal rates. Be polite and precise. Whether speaking to a call center representative or using the online system, confirm all details: time, date, location, and instructions. Prepare your travel. Know exactly how you will get to the center, how long it will take, and where you will park. Arriving late could jeopardize your slot. Why timing matters. In many Intel reports, the earliest participants have the broadest access to contract rates, higher negotiated rates offered to those who move first. As liquidity is deployed, banks may gradually shift towards standard public international rates. Being proactive maximizes your opportunity. Step 4. Know your numbers. Build your strategy. Walking into a redemption appointment without a plan is like walking into a negotiation blindfolded. You need to know what you want, what you need, and what you are willing to accept. Public versus contract rates. Public rate, the standard exchange rate visible on Forex platforms, available to all. Contract rate, a higher, negotiated rate offered during the early redemption window. Key questions to ask yourself: what rate would change my life today? Do I want to take all funds immediately, or accept a structured payout over time for a higher return? How much liquidity do I need now, versus how much can I lock into trusts, investments, or charitable foundations? What is my plan for taxes, asset protection, and legacy planning? Practical example, imagine you hold 10 million VND. At a modest international rate, your redemption could cover debts and provide a comfortable safety net. At a higher contract rate, it might transform into generational wealth. By knowing your minimum and maximum goals, you avoid being pressured into quick decisions. Step 5. Securing your wealth after exchange. Exchanging your notes is only the beginning. The far greater challenge is protecting and managing your newfound wealth. Segregated and insured accounts request that your funds be placed into a segregated account, separate from the bank's operating capital. Ensure it carries full insurance protection. Multi-signature security. Some banks offer accounts that require dual verification for large transfers. This can prevent unauthorized movement of funds. Ask if multi-signature or private PIN systems are available. Structured payouts. While taking all funds at once may be tempting, structured payouts can reduce tax liabilities, protect against overspending, provide stability and income over time. Professional guidance. Meet with a wealth manager, tax attorney, and possibly a trust specialist. Setting up structures like family trusts, charitable foundations, or limited liability entities ensures your wealth is preserved for decades, not just years. Step 6. Mindset. Calm, focused, and professional. Perhaps the most underrated element of this entire process is your mental state. The redemption event will likely be the single most significant financial moment of your lifetime. Key principles. Stay calm. Do not let hype, fear, or last-minute rumors push you into rash decisions. Be respectful. Bankers and wealth managers are professionals. Treat them as allies, not adversaries. Ask questions. Never leave the table uncertain about what you signed or agreed to. Take your time. A few extra hours of thought are worth far more than a lifetime of regret. Remember, patience brought you here. Precision will carry you through. Step 7. Expanding beyond yourself. True prosperity extends beyond personal gain. Once you secure your wealth, consider how it can transform not only your own life, but also the lives of others. Possibilities include paying off mortgages and debts for your family, funding education for children and grandchildren, supporting veterans, building schools, or launching clean water projects, backing entrepreneurs and local businesses. By aligning your wealth with purpose, you ensure that the impact of this redemption is felt far beyond your personal bank account. The bigger picture, why it all matters. The global currency realignment is not simply about wealth transfers. It represents a broader recalibration of fairness and opportunity. For Iraq, it means attracting foreign investment and re-establishing sovereignty. For Vietnam, it signals economic maturity and international respect. For the world, it lays the foundation for a more balanced global financial system. For you, it means freedom, financial, personal, and generational. This is not just a business transaction, it is a chapter in history. You are not a bystander, you are a participant. Final thoughts. Execute like a professional. Revealed the signals. Iraq's alignment, Vietnam's move, portal activation, liquidity release. Section 2 has given you the tactical roadmap. 1. Verify and organize your currency. 2. Gather essential documents. 3. Book your appointment immediately. 4. Know your numbers and negotiate strategically. 5. Secure and protect your wealth. 6. Maintain a calm, professional mindset. 7. Expand your impact to family and community. If you do these things, you will not stumble into the redemption window unprepared. You will stride through it with clarity, purpose, and confidence. The September 2025 window is not just another date on the calendar. It is a convergence point of patience, perseverance, and preparation. The world is watching. Your future is waiting. And when you sit at that table, you will know that every year of waiting led you here, to this moment of transformation. Disclaimer: all content provided by IQD Global Intel is for educational and informational purposes only. We are not financial advisors and do not provide investment, trading, or banking advice. Viewers should always conduct their own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor before making any financial decisions.